Welcome back. In this lecture, we will discuss some basic concepts such as limit, continuity, differentiability, and then analyticity of functions of complex variable. Complex analysis is concerned with complex functions that are differentiable in some domain. Even though the discussions of these topics are similar to that in real calculus, we can see the basic difference between real and complex calculus. Let us start with defining neighborhood of a point. We have already defined a complex number as a point in xy plane, and we use the notation set for a variable complex number. It is the ordered by xy, or in representation this is z is equal to x plus iy. And suppose we are considering another fixed complex number, say a. Suppose this a has real part h and imaginary part k. So that is the fixed complex number. A is equal to h plus ik, and a variable complex number z is equal to x plus iy. Suppose we are plotting this fixed complex number. Suppose this is the position of the fixed complex number, say a or h plus ik, and this is our variable complex number, say z. So this is our a and this is our z. Then what is the distance between that z and a? So we can construct the complex number z minus a. What is z minus a? Z minus a is another complex number with the real part x minus h and imaginary part y minus k. Now we can measure the distance between this fixed complex number a and a variable complex number z. So the distance is modulus of z minus a. And modulus of z minus a means it is the distance between the points xy and the point hk. So using the distance formula, we can have this as square root of x minus h the whole square plus y minus k the whole square. And we call this fixed distance as some rho. Okay, so this is the distance. This is the fixed distance, say rho, distance between a fixed complex number a and a variable complex number z. And now suppose this z is varying so that the distance between z and a is always fixed. Then what will be the locus? So we are considering collection of all complex numbers z so that the distance measured from this fixed complex number is always fixed, and we take that fixed distance as rho. Then the collection of all complex numbers will trace a circle. So the equation mod z minus a equal to rho gives the equation of a circle in the complex plane. And we know that equation of a circle with the center at a means a is the coordinate hk and having radius rho. In Cartesian coordinate system, that equation becomes, if you are squaring this, we get mod z minus a square is equal to rho square. That is, mod z minus a square is equal to rho square implies x minus h the whole square plus y minus k the whole square equal to rho square. We get the same Cartesian equation of a circle with the center at hk and radius rho. In complex notation, we can represent a circle with the center at a fixed point a and having radius rho by mod z minus a is equal to rho. And if we take a as the origin and rho is equal to 1, we get the unit circle. That means mod z is equal to 1. Mod z equal to 1 gives the unit circle. What is a unit circle? A circle with the center at origin and having radius 1 unit. And that mod z equal to 1 becomes, equation of unit circle becomes this hk is equal to 0 and rho is equal to 1, we get x square plus y square equal to 1. That is the corresponding Cartesian equation. So we have the equation of a circle with the center at a fixed complex number a and having radius rho is given by mod z minus a equal to rho. So this equation always represents the collection of all complex numbers in the complex plane which preserves this equation. And if you are considering all complex numbers which are lying interior to this circular boundary. That means if we consider this set of all complex numbers which are lying on the boundary circle mod z minus a equal to rho and interior to that boundary, then we will get a circular disk. The collection of all complex numbers which are lying interior and on the boundary of this circle is called a circular disk with the center at A and having radius rho. And if you remove the boundary circle and considering only complex numbers which are lying interior of that circle, that means mod z minus a equal to rho, that is called an open disk. We are excluding the points which lies on this circular boundary and considering all points which are lying interior to that circular boundary, that is called an open disk. And this open disk is called the neighborhood of the point A. Neighborhood of A. So that is an important definition. So neighborhood of a complex number A means it is the collection of all complex numbers which are lying interior to a circle with the center at A and having radius rho. This rho may be a very small or larger number, then we get different neighborhood of the point A. And using this neighborhood definition, we can define different sets. That means we can define an open set, connected set, domain, boundary point, and a region. So these are the fundamental definitions before we are studying complex calculus. Open set. A set S is called open if every point of S has a neighborhood consisting entirely of points that belong to S. Connected set. A set S is called connected if any two of its points can be joined by a chain of finitely many straight line segments, all of whose points belong to S. An example of a connected set is interior of a triangular region, a circular disk. But if we consider a rectangular region in which the diagonals are removed, the region is not connected because the region is split into four triangular shapes. Any two of the triangular shape cannot be connected by finitely many line segments. Domain. An open and connected set is called a domain. Boundary point. A boundary point of a set is a point every neighborhood of which contains both points that belong to S and points that do not belong to S. Region. A region in a set consisting of domain plus some or all of its boundary points. Next we define what are functions of a complex variable. See, in real calculus we have already studied a function of the form y as a function of x, where we have two variables, one is the independent variable x and other is the dependent variable y. In real calculus both these variables are real numbers. This x and y are real numbers. So this function is called a real valued function. Here we are considering another function called function of a complex variable. That means here the input variable or the independent variable is said is a complex number. And depending on the output value, we can classify this as real function of a complex variable, real function of a complex variable. For example, if this f is equal to some mod z, then the all outputs are real numbers. So it is an example of a real function of a complex variable. Next, complex function of a real variable. Complex function of a real variable. For example, the real variable is say some theta and f of theta is equal to e raised to I theta, that is a complex number cos theta plus I sin theta. So this is an example of complex function of a real variable, and here we are dealing with complex function of a complex variable. Complex function of a complex variable. And that complex function of a complex variable is usually denoted by W is equal to Fz. Here both the input variable and the output variables are complex numbers. The input variable is Z and the output variable is another complex number, say W. So both input variable Z and output variable W have real and imaginary parts, where Z is of the form a complex number x plus iy and W is another complex number of the form u plus iv. Here x and y are real numbers, u and v are real numbers. Now as an example of complex function of a complex variable, we can consider W is equal to f of z equal to z square. That is, fz is equal to x plus iy the whole square. X plus iy the whole square. And this one expansion, our multiplying x plus iy into x plus iy, our multiplication rule, we can see that this becomes x square minus y square, that will be the real part, plus I into 2xy, this is the imaginary part. Here this x and y are real variables, so we can call this as a new function of x comma y. So this is our function of one function of x and y, and another function of x and y as v of x comma y. So in a complex function of a complex variable W is equal to Fz, we can always write this Fz in the form some function of x and y as the real part and another function of x and y as the imaginary part. So a complex function of a complex variable can be treated as a pair of real functions. A pair of real functions u and v, where this u is a function of two real variables x and y, v is another function of two real variables x and y. Next we are going to define three fundamental concepts such as limit, continuity and differentiability for a complex function W is equal to Fz. And before defining the concept of limit in complex plane, let us see what is a limit function or what is the limit concept for a function of real function of a real variable. So in our ordinary calculus classes, we have already studied what is the meaning of limit as x tends to x naught, fx is equal to some number, say a. So in order to see that concept, suppose we are starting with an example. Suppose fx is equal to 1 plus x and x naught is equal to 1. Then what is limit as x tends to 1, 1 plus x? So limit as x tends to 1, 1 plus x, we know that this answer is 2. By direct evaluation of the limit, we can see that limit of this polynomial function 1 plus x at x is equal to 1 is 2. Then what is the meaning of that concept? Suppose we are substituting this value, that means we are approaching to 1 from the left side of 1 or the right side of 1. So we can prepare two columns, one is for x values and another is for the output value 1 plus x. Suppose we are gradually approaching to 1 from the left side of 1. That means from the left side we are moving along the number line. So this is 0 and this is 1. From the left side we are gradually approaching to 1 means the values of x are increasing and finally coinciding with the 1. So suppose we are substituting the value as 0.9, a number just to the left hand side of x is equal to 1. Then we get the output as 1 plus x, that is 1.9. Then increasing this value, that is 0.99, 1 plus 1.99, 0.999, 1.999 and so on. And finally this process will goes to 1 and this right hand side will approaches to the answer 2. Then we say that the limit of this function from the left side of x equal to 1 is 2, or in notation we say that limit as x tends to 1 minus fx or 1 plus x is equal to 2. And similarly, if you are preparing another tabular form with the x values and fx is equal to 1 plus x, for values of x which are approaching to 1 from the right side of 1. To the right side of 1, the values of x is greater than 1. That means the values successively decreasing and finally coinciding with the 1. That means the value is 1.1. Then we have the output as 2.1. Next we are approaching to 1 from the right side, that means decreasing the value, that is 1.01. Then this becomes 2.01, 1.001, 2.001, and finally all these values decreases and goes to the value 1. Then we can see that the right hand side function output values are decreasing and finally coinciding with the 2 or goes to the value 2. And this concept is explained as the right hand limit of the function 1 plus x at x is equal to 1 is 2. In notation we will write this as limit as x tends to 1 plus of 1 plus x is equal to 2. So whenever this left hand limit and right hand limit are equal, we say that the function has a limit and the limit value is equal to the common value 2. So this is the case for real functions of a real variable. And we can extend this concept for complex numbers. Now as in the real case, a function f is said have the limit L as z tends to z0 or z approaches a fixed point z0. We write in notation as limit z tends to z0 f is equal to L. Then what is the meaning of this statement? This only simply means that the difference between the complex number f is and L is very small whenever the difference between z and z0 is also very small. Diagrammatic representation, we can represent this as in the xy plane. Suppose we are taking this is our fixed complex number z0 and z may be everywhere in this open disk or the neighborhood. Then correspondingly we can have another open disk in the W plane, that means the image plane UV, with the center some L. This is the fixed value and fixed may be somewhere in the open disk. Then the distance between this fz and L is very small. This fz may be anywhere in this open disk. Suppose this is very small, then the corresponding distance between our z and z0 is also delta. So the expression limit z tends to z0 f is equal to L simply means that the distance between or the difference between f z and L is made as very small for all z which are different from z0 in this xy plane or the complex plane, so that we can find another small number, say delta, so that the distance between z and z0 is less than delta. Now what is the main difference between the concept in real calculus and the complex calculus? Here we are approaching, that means we are approaching from z to z0. We can approach to z0 in any direction, but in real calculus we can approach the fixed number only through the two directions. One is from the left of the fixed number and another is from the right of the fixed number. Here this z can approach to z0 in any path within this open disk. That means there are infinitely many paths for approaching z to z0. For any choice of the path, if all the limit values are identical, we say that the limit exists. Or if the limit values are different for two different paths, then limit does not exist. Definitions of limit and continuity. A function f is said to have the limit L as z approaches a point z0, written limit z tends to z0 f is equal to L if f is defined in a neighborhood of z0 except at z0 itself, and if the values of f are close to L for all z close to z0. A function f is said to be continuous at z equal to z0 if f of z0 is defined and limit z tends to z0 f is equal to f of z0. A function f is continuous in a domain if it is continuous at all points of the domain. definition of differentiability. The derivative of a complex function f at a point z0 is written as f dash of z0 and is defined by f dash of z0 equal to limit delta z tends to 0 f of z0 plus delta z minus f of z0 by delta z, provided this limit exists. Then f is said to be differentiable at z0. Or if we set z equal to z0 plus delta z, then f dash of z0 equal to limit z tends to z0 f is z minus f of z0 by z minus z0. This is another convenient definition for differentiability at a point z equal to z0. See an example of a function which is differentiable everywhere in the complex plane. For example, if we consider the function as f z is equal to z square, we can find its derivative using the basic definition f dash of z at an arbitrary point, variable point say f dash of z equal to limit as delta z tends to 0 f of z plus delta z minus f z the whole divided by delta z equal to limit as delta z tends to 0 f of z plus delta z, that is z plus delta z the whole square minus z square by delta z. Now expanding this z plus delta z the whole square and cancelling one z square, we have limit as delta z tends to 0. So 2z delta z plus delta z square by delta z, and taking one delta z common factor and cancelling, we have limit as delta z tends to 0 2z plus delta z, that is equal to, on evaluation of this limit we get this answer as 2z. So the derivative of the complex function f z equal to z square is 2z. See, this is similar to our ordinary real calculus. For the function fx equal to x square, its derivative is 2x. And by applying this basic definition, we can see that for similar functions, that means, for example, if you are considering the function as the generalized power function f z equal to z raised to n, its derivative is f dash z is equal to n into z raised to n minus 1. And for the exponential function, complex function f1 exponential function e raised to z, its derivative can be said that it is e raised to z. For log z, the corresponding derivative is 1 by z with z not equal to 0. And similarly for the trigonometry function sin z derivative cos z, cos z derivative minus sin z, tan z derivative c square z, and so on. All functions defined in the complex plane need not be a differentiable function. For example, if you are considering the function as f z is equal to z bar, this function is not differentiable, because if you are computing its derivative using the basic definition, f dash of z is equal to limit delta z tends to 0 f of z plus delta z minus f z the whole divided by delta z. That is, limit delta z tends to 0 f of z plus delta z means z plus delta z the whole conjugate minus f z is z conjugate by delta z. So this is delta z tends to 0. So using the property of conjugate, this is z conjugate plus delta z conjugate minus z conjugate. So this becomes delta z conjugate the whole divided by delta z. And suppose our delta z is delta x plus I delta y. Its real and imaginary parts are delta x and delta y. So this is equal to limit delta x plus I delta y tends to 0. Delta z conjugate is delta x minus I delta y divided by delta x plus I delta y. So the complex number delta x plus I delta y tends to 0. We can approach to 0 along any path in the complex plane. Suppose we are moving along a path so that this delta y is fixed. That means we are moving along a path which is parallel to the x-axis. So for the path parallel to x-axis, or if we are fixing this delta y, then we have, this is limit as delta x tends to 0 for a path parallel to x-axis. This delta y part is 0, so this is delta x by delta x. So this is equal to 1. And if we choose another path so that delta x tends to 0, in which this delta x is fixed, that means we are moving parallel to the y-axis or imaginary axis, then we have delta z tends to 0 means I delta y tends to 0. Again, one more option, f dash z is equal to, for another choice of the path, limit I delta y tends to 0, I delta y tends to 0, and this delta x is 0, so minus I delta y divided by I delta y, minus I delta y divided by I delta y, so that is equal to minus 1. That means for two different paths in which this delta z tends to 0, we have two values for f dash of z. One is f dash of z is equal to 1 and another is f dash of z equal to minus 1. That means limit does not exist. If a limit to exist, if you are approaching to that fixed complex number along any path in the complex plane, all the evaluations must give the same answer. Here we have two different answers for two different paths. So this f dash z does not exist, or we can say that this function f z equal to z bar is not differentiable in the complex plane. Analytic functions. A function f z is said to be analytic in a domain D if f z is defined and differentiable at all points of D. The function f z is said to be analytic at a point z equal to z0 in D if f z is analytic in a neighborhood of z0. Also, by an analytic function we mean a function that is analytic in some domain. From the next class onwards, we will study the detailed properties of analytic functions and applications of analytic functions. Thank you.